literature and composition class. So this is going to be the first lesson in a new unit, but these are students that I've already had for a semester, so I know some of them already. So I kind of want to skip the entry task, but the entry task was about what things we should keep the same, what things we should change based on how things went the first semester. Just sort of a way to kind of come back at it and see what people want to change and what they want to keep doing. Okay, this also would involve us all having our notebooks, and I would have my notebook, and my notebook would be on the dot cam, and I would be writing the notes, and you would be writing them down, modeling, okay? So we will enter in there. Okay, so the next unit that we're gonna be doing is gonna center around the text Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. This story is gonna take place in Nigeria, and it's in the late 1890s. So we'll be talking a little bit about what was going on then, what was happening in the world, kind of get your bearings there because it was a long time ago for you all. But this story is going to follow a character that lives in a tribal culture in Nigeria. So I do want to talk briefly about cultural bias. So again, we would be writing this definition in our notebooks. But cultural bias is the tendency for people to judge the outside world through a narrow view based on their own culture. So a lot of what we're going to read in Things Fall Apart might sound weird to you, and it might sound like things that you would never do, but I want us to come back to that place of understanding that our culture is different from this culture, and what we find odd would have been perfectly normal for them, and we're going to try not to judge it based on how we live today, okay? So what I want you to think about is maybe some of the instances in your life where maybe you have some things that are a part of your culture that maybe not everybody does. So what I want to do is take 1 minute of silent think time. I want you to brainstorm some customs in your family. A custom could be something like a holiday, something you do around a holiday, or maybe a rite of passage. Does anybody know what rite of passage is? It's a rite. Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of something that you go through or you learn that kind of indicates you're more of an adult than a child now.
Right. So usually something that kind of marks the change between adolescence and adulthood. So maybe there's a rite of passage that your family follows, or maybe it centers around the certain expectations for men or women in your family, or adults and children in your family. Any other custom. So take 1 minute of silent think time, and then you're going to share with a partner. You could be writing down some notes to remind yourself of what you're going to talk about if you like. Just take 1 minute.
Question.
Yes.
Can it be someone else, like a close friend's custom? Doesn't necessarily have to be your own.
I'd like you to think kind of carefully about what you do, about what happens in your family. It doesn't necessarily have to be cultural. It could just be something that you do in your family. Maybe it doesn't necessarily relate to anybody else that you know. Okay. All right. So I want you to take just maybe 4 minutes. You're going to turn to an elbow partner and discuss your custom. So I want you to think back to our learning target about engaging actively in discussion. So remember when we talked about our learning target, we talked about how engaging actively is going to be making sure that you're making eye contact with the person that you're listening to and the person that you're speaking to. Maybe you'll use some nonverbal gestures. Maybe you'll nod, you'll smile. You'll listen respectfully, give them a chance to complete their thought, right? Maybe leave room for a pause before you start in with yours, okay? All right, so take 4 minutes.
May I video this group as you talk?
Huh?
Is it okay if I video this group as you talk?
Something strange that my mom and I do in our family is, well, not so much anymore, but like more when I was in high school and middle school, we would like lick things for each other to like claim it. So it'd be like, my mom would be like, hey, don't forget, you're mine, and then like lick my face. Actually, my grandpa did that once too, so it's not just me and my mom, I guess it was more of a whole family thing. That's one.
I feel like it's really dumb that like it's weird. The only reason I thought of this is because I was told it was weird by a friend. But everyone in my family eats all of their breakfast food like covered in peanut butter and syrup, which I didn't ever think was weird.
All of your breakfast food being
Like pancakes and waffles and French toast, like all of that, oatmeal, like whatever. And I never thought that was weird growing up until like my friends were like, "What are you doing?" Or like having to ask at everyone else's house for the peanut butter.
I mean, my dad, when I was a kid, he was in the military, and so like a lot of weird like traditional like manner kind of things were really ingrained in me as a kid. That like saying thank you to a teacher as you leave class every single day, or like every night when I had to get up from the dinner table, I had to be like, excuse me from the table, thank you for dinner, or like, yes sir, yes ma'am, that kind of stuff. Which like, I mean, isn't that weird on its own, but like culturally now it seems very odd and pretty antiquated, I guess, at times, but like, sometimes still when I feel uncomfortable or something, I revert back and I'm like I'll just all of a sudden, like if I feel intimidated by a person, start going back to like the military roots and things, which I don't know if that's so much weird or if it is just like a different.
it's not looking at each other's faces.
Yeah, my family's not the most physically affectionate. So
When we were 7 and 14, we got to redecorate our room. So it was kind of like an interesting rite of passage. So the first time I did it, I was like spongy and flowers because I was super and then when I was 19, I did like Korean wallpaper and then I did like
Take 20 more seconds. 20 more seconds. have your attention back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. All right, so I heard a lot of great discussion out there. Did anybody notice any similarities with their family's customs? Yeah?
Muddy and I, our families both like to eat a lot of food on holidays.
Okay. So sharing food is a big family custom. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
Taylor's husband's family actually has the same similar tradition as us on Christmas. My grandpa always reads the nativity scene out of the Bible, and then when we were all younger, the cousins would act it out. Now he just reads it and we all listen. But apparently her husband's family does the exact same thing.
Okay. So sort of a repeating of a special story at a special time. Okay. Was there anything that sounded totally weird that somebody else's family does? Maybe.
I don't know if it's weird, but it definitely doesn't have a religious connotation to it. For my family, whenever, because I'm the oldest of 3 girls, when we turned 7 and 14, we got to redecorate our rooms however we wanted to. Kind of like you're coming out, you're like entering puberty and adolescence at age 7 at that point in time, and then like age 14, you're kind of like emerging into adulthood kind of thing. So she kind of respected that, and it's like your room is your space. You get to choose whatever paint colors, whatever kind of suits you at that time, and like no embarrassment, no holds. So when I was 7, I did sponge painted flowers everywhere because sponge painted flowers were so much fun. And then when I was 14, like I did Parisian wallpaper and then just decorated things randomly. So,
Okay, great. All right, does anybody else want to share anything that you heard that you thought was interesting? Okay. Did any of you, when you were listening to your elbow partner, did you reassess, again, going back to our learning target, about maybe reassessing our own opinions about things? Were you thinking about what your family does at that certain time, like maybe at a certain age or at a certain holiday, and think, maybe we should do that? Maybe? Do you guys think you're going to keep up some of these family traditions and customs when you have kids? I know it's a long way off. Maybe? Yeah?
Well, we have a 4-year-old, and I'm Korean American, and my husband is Caucasian, and so we're having a lot of fun creating our own customs, like that are unique to our family. And I'm totally doing the nativity thing now. I think that's really neat because I think there's a lot of focus on Christmas being about presents for my kid right now, and I want to take away the focus away from that, and I think that'd be kind of humbling.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Okay, so one of the things, we're going to be talking about a lot of maybe traditions or customs that are very different from what we're used to. And we're going to be looking at some big ideas in this book. What I passed out to you while you were talking, you either have a green sheet or a white sheet, but it's the same thing on both, so don't worry. This is called an opinion continuum. Okay? So does anybody know what a continuum is? What would that mean? Is there a word in there that you understand?
It's kind of a range.
Yeah?
Spectrum.
Spectrum, range. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something